What's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining me and Mackenzie Young. Today we're going to be talking about a topic, a sensitive topic, especially around the holidays. Today is December 25th, Christmas for U.S. tradition. But we wanted to talk about love. We wanted to talk about successful relationships and defining it and what we think it takes in order to maintain and build on a successful love. So before we get started, this is Mackenzie Young. You can follow her at
Darling Kenzie on Instagram.
On YouTube, though. What's your YouTube?
It's the same.
Darling Kenzie on YouTube. My name is Shane Kipper. So, Mackenzie, why don't you go ahead and read the Urban Dictionary version of love?
So it says that love isn't when you want or need to be with them every second of the day. Love is when the time you spend with them is perfect and the time you spend apart is equally as good. Love isn't when you depend on them and your whole life revolves around them. Love is when they are a perfect addition to your life. It doesn't make everything else seem perfect. It makes everything else bearable and manageable. They help you grow as a person and make you a better person and feel better about yourself and life in general. Love isn't when you hate saying goodbye. Love is when you see goodbye as a possibility of saying hello all over again. Love doesn't cover their flaws. Love does show their flaws for all they are, but you love their imperfections because it makes them who they are, and you love and accept them for everything that they are.
Those all make really great sense. I like the contrast of each description. And I would agree with a lot of those. I mean, especially like some of our differences, really make us who we are together. I believe a lot in horoscopes. So I'm a Pisces and you are
Capricorn.
a Capricorn. And so I'm a water sign and she's an earth sign, and so she keeps me grounded. I'm more of like a free spirit and she's more of like structure and, plans and stuff like that. And so it's a perfect contrast because there's certain things as far as like being free-willed and like open-minded that I can give to her, where I need a little bit of structure and security and planning and stuff like that. So a lot of that really comes in handy. I think something else too is like what was another one there that we can bounce off of?
I think it's really important, the one that says like love isn't that your whole life revolves around them, because when you're in a really serious relationship, it is a normal human tendency to just like, they're your everything, right? Like they're your whole world, and like your day is going to revolve around their schedule. And it's kind of a natural thing for like your free-flowing schedules to just kind of bond together. But it's also like really unhealthy for you to like put yourself on the back burner and like just put all of your energy into the relationship, because you need to put yourself first and then you need to focus on the relationship. And the relationship isn't ever going to get better if you don't ever get better. And it's never going to stay consistently good if you aren't consistently good with yourself. And so I think that was something that Shane really had to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, I need to focus on me. And like, we both had to do that. We both had to be like, let's just focus on ourselves, and then we can come together and be even better together. And so I think it's really important for you to not get super wrapped up in the relationship. Like, you can give that person your all and loyalty and all of those great things, but you also need to take time for yourself, and that goes into the healthy boundaries that we're going to talk about as well.
Yeah, I really believe in selfishness, not in the negative connotation that we tend to give it. You can be selfish in the aspect of, I'm just going to drive for a sec, selfish in the aspect of taking from other people for a selfish need, whereas selfishness in my eyes can be very positive, where you're spending a lot of time focusing on, most of your time focusing on you, because you really can't contribute, you can't give love if you don't have love for yourself. So I think it's very important for us to have alone time for us to reflect for ourselves, take care of ourselves, whether it's the gym or the way we eat, or just spending that quality time with ourselves.
It's more of like self-love. I wouldn't call it selfishness. I would just call it self-love.
But it's only the way you define it. So I believe in selfishness because it's good to be selfish. It's only I guess it's like I said, it's bad when you are trying to take from somebody for your own personal need. Self-love, yes, that's what it is, but being selfish is a good thing.
And today we're talking about healthy boundaries as well. And so
that's our 2019 goal. So like she said, I had to kind of step back and take time for myself, and again, so did she, because it's a team effort. That's another big thing is we create our reality. We are reflecting to ourselves. She's a reflection of me, and I'm a reflection of her. So some aspects are things that I need to work on that are a reflection of her, and vice versa. And so taking that time kind of helps us realize those things and improve. Go ahead.
So we're gonna have personal days. So we haven't really put the exact parameters on it. But I am thinking we should have 2 days a week where we have just personal days where we just do our own thing. Because me personally, I'm a very introverted extrovert, so I like my alone time and I really cherish and love that. It helps me recharge so that when I am around people, I have more energy and I can be my extroverted self. But I definitely really need the time to be alone to recharge and goal set and do the things that I need to do. To come back and be with him and be together and be my best self, because if we were just together all the time, I wouldn't get that time alone, and then I start to get cranky and impatient and all of these things, and he knows that. It's kind of when I'm hungry too. Yeah. So and again, think of the healthy boundaries too as it doesn't even need to be a relationship. This can be with your family and the people that are close to you. Really take a step back and ask yourself what are my personal boundaries? So, for example, some people might take advantage of you for, say, they just want you to constantly do something for them, and you really just don't want to, because A, it takes up a lot of your time, and B, it's really draining for you, or whatever it might be. A really good example would be someone who's really toxic in your life, or they're really negative. So instead of you spending all of your time with this person, step back and be do I really want to spend time with this person? Are they really adding value to my life? And if the answer is no, then you either need to cut them out completely or just really cut down your time with that person and set the healthy boundary of okay, we don't need to talk every single day, or I'm only going to see you on this day for this amount of time, and leave it at that and stick with it. I also watched another YouTuber talk about her personal boundary for drinking. When she goes out, she has 2 drinks and that's her cap, and that's her personal boundary, and no one can cross that. So it's really good to get intentional with what it is that you want to achieve in 2019, because a lot of us struggle with setting healthy boundaries, just in general. And so sit down and think where do you spend the most time, or waste the most time, and then set boundaries for the things that are causing you maybe some heartache or whatever it might be, and focus on the people who are really close to you as well, because that's going to be really important.
So, like we said, our 2019 goal is healthy boundaries. So that's going to include self-love time. So, like we said, 2 days a week where we're by ourselves all day, taking care of us. Goal setting, meditating, yoga. Maybe even going and getting your nails done, doing something that makes you feel really good. You know, I love the gym. I love to go play basketball.
Yeah.
I love to go hang out with my buddies. You know, that's something I want to do, is find more friends to have guy time, you know, because I spend a lot of time with her or just with myself. And so, you know, expanding that network. So it's having time for ourselves, understanding, you know, the other night we sat with each other and just you can find questions on the internet that
On Pinterest.
you can ask each other to kind of better understand each other and, like,
Yeah.
you know, some of their flaws or some of the things that they fear, and, you know, just really get to know the person, so that way you know what that other person needs from you.
Also take the 5 love language test, both you and your partner, and even like your coworkers that are close to you, and like your mom and all those people, because it's important to know how they feel loved too. But once I read the 5 love languages and took the test, my life changed. So, and it really helped me communicate with Shane to be like, this is how I feel loved. And the good thing is so his, I think it's your first, quality time is your first one. Or I think physical touch and quality time are really important to him, basically. And quality time and gifts, like small, thoughtful gifts, are mine. So, and that makes sense, right? Because, like, my mom, the way that she shows her love to me, she gives me gifts. Like, she'll bring me coffee or flowers or whatever it might be, and that makes me feel loved because I know she's thinking of me. So, Shane, like, will bring me flowers and, like, whatever it is, like, you know, he'll just, like, be at the store and, like, bring me something, and that's, like, amazing to me.
Yeah.
So it's really important for you to know, like, how you personally feel loved, so that you can communicate that to your spouse and to other people. And then it's also really important for you to know your spouse. That way you can, you know, make sure, he calls it a love tank. So you want to make sure that their love tank is full, right? Because when most of, you know, your relationships, when you're having problems, is because their love tank is empty and they're not feeling loved.
Yeah.
So that prevents that from happening.
So, taking time for ourselves, understanding our partner, and knowing how to improve on our relationship. Communication. You know, like one day a week where we talk about, like, how we can improve on each other.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily improve each other, but improve ourselves for each other. And then, you know, a date night a week where it's just us and we go eat dinner or we go do something fun together.
Well, the other night we made ravioli and we were just at home, but I Pinterest, like, questions to ask, like, when you're in a relationship, and that was really helpful. Like, and he was even, like, last night, he was just like, what makes you happy? And I was like, oh, that's a good question. So it's like, even just randomly asking your partner those questions is, like, really good for you to get to know them.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would add for, you know, healthy boundaries or setting up a good relationship for 2019?
I would say just be really intentional with what it is that you want, and then set out an action plan, and then actually do the things. And just make sure you really stick with it. Like, again, it stems back to self-love. Like, how much are you going to love yourself? Like, how much are you going to respect yourself? Right? It all comes down to that. So at the end of the day, just get really intentional with what it is that you want, how you want to be treated, and how you want to treat other people, and then go and do the things. So that would be, like, the intention plus the action is going to equal your accomplishment, right? That's my signature framework I follow for business, but also relationship-wise you can follow as well. So I think it's really important to get really intentional with what you want and then stick to it.
I would also add, too, is, you know, it's kind of the same thing, you know, the self-love. You know, you want to love yourself to love another person, but in order to get to that self-love place, you've got to acquire the knowledge, you've got to build the skill, you've got to practice and teach yourself how to do that. So, you know, finding mentors is a big one that I stick to. You know, you can follow people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, Bob Proctor, Abraham Hicks. Finding someone that's going to help not only with the mindset, but giving you a strategy for learning how to love yourself and build a better life for yourself, because it's really just going to reflect into your relationships. So that's all I would have to add to that. Is there anything else before we end this video?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so focus on yourself, focus on yourself first, set some boundaries, key communication, be open, be vulnerable, and just stick to the plan, and everything works itself out, and the right people will be in your life. Don't force it, let it flow. So I think that's going to be it for today. I hope this was beneficial for you, and you'll learn something new. So again, follow Mackenzie Young at Darling Kenzie on YouTube and on Instagram. My handles are at Shane Kipper on Instagram and Facebook, and this is obviously my YouTube. So thanks for tuning in. You got anything else, Mackenzie?
No.
All right, we love you. Happy holidays, and we'll catch you on the next video.